Yo! Yayo Talk Show!
Dreamin'! Don't give it up, Molly.
Dreamin'!
Don't give it up, Marco.
Dreamin'!
Don't give it up, Katie.
Dreamin'!
Al's name didn't fit. They talk about the show, this group of four friends been going for 1,000,000 years, there's no end. Watching every arc and saga, no sleep. It's the king of anime, 1,000 episodes deep. Yayo Talk Show. Talking about One Piece. It's the name of the podcast. We're not on Vine. Yayo Talk Show. Talking about One Piece. What's up, wenches, privateers, and non-binary buccaneers? Welcome aboard the most chaotic One Piece podcast on the Grand Line-ternet. Brought to you from viewers like you. Welcome to the end of the season, everybody. Oh my god. Can you believe we've been doing this show for way too long?
Hooray!
In the best
Not long enough.
affection.
Almost as long as One Piece has been on air.
No. Nobody fact check that. Hey, before we get into this Q&A episode, we're going to introduce the crew. Hey, I immediately ran out of energy, and I apologize.
You can hear the tire deflating in real time.
It's the captain of the crew, Molly D. Stimpy.
Hey, it's me. What's up? Happy New Year.
No. Nope.
Happy before the New Year.
Nailed it. Wild theorist Kaden Jensen.
Happy nude garp.
Molly's on board now.
Woo! I'm wide awake.
Injecting some energy into this.
The Laughborg, Al McClellan Jr.
That's me. Hitting the ejector seat. Goodbye.
Tiny horseman. Small.
This little horse.
Tiny pony.
We got a tiny pony
Al
on deck.
McClellan Jr.
A tiny greasy pony. And I'm the internet's gentleman, Mark B. Donica. The B stands for Bonesman. We made it to the end of another year of Yayo Talk Show. And
Yay!
to celebrate that, we asked our lovely listeners to send in some questions and suggestions. Because as we are heading to Kaden being completely caught up with One Piece, I was very terrified to say that sentence. The show kind of
Big
has
brave boy did it anyway.
the show kind of has to change a little bit, you know? So
The show must go on.
the show must go on. So as a result, we're going to take some questions, but we're also going to take some suggestions of other One Piece and One Piece related things to talk about on the show. And if you missed your opportunity to ask your question, you can ask us anything over on our Tumblr, our YouTube, or directly on Spotify. You can leave questions, messages, and we'll see them because what else are we going to do? But
You can also add us on Blue Sky, too.
yeah, you can
follow
add
us
the
on
show
Blue Sky,
on Blue
please.
Sky. I'm still getting used to that. It's a new thing, but here we are. So let's get started with some of these questions. Also, but before we get started with questions, if you are listening on iTunes or Apple Podcasts, please leave us a review. We would love to hear from you in terms of other ways that we can improve the show. More star ratings, no matter what. But we would prefer 5, will allow more people to discover the show. And we really
does
appreciate
really
that.
help.
It absolutely helps. So thank you very much if you're a new listener. And then also, if you leave a review, we'll read it on the show. So thank you very much. Let's get started with this question from Carso26, our friend Carson, who asks, who is the most unhinged Straw Hat after Luffy?
I feel like this is going to be a debate. I saw that this is the first question. It's like, this is going to be a fight, I think.
I want to throw my hat
Well, we
in
don't
the
have to
ring right
come
away,
to a
then.
consensus.
I want to throw my hat in the ring right away.
I see
and
that hat,
say
Molly.
Frankie. And I can give examples.
I
I
It's
prepared.
gonna be sloppy handshake. I agree.
Yeah!
Totally.
I prepared flashcards.
He is quite the unsane. Unsane. Wow. I gotta go.
Unhinged, baby.
Yeah.
No door attached.
He's a ball entirely made of goof.
I mean, he figured out that he could like mod his body with car parts and just started going ham. He has a button on his face, like unprotected, that changes his hairstyle.
Like I want to point to like the first time we see Frankie, when we first meet Frankie during the world government like Water 6,
Water 7.
Yes. But like what was the place
Right next door.
What was the marine fortress they were in? I can't think of it right now.
Enos Lobby?
Yeah,
Enos Lobby, thank you. I was going to say
Enos
EBD.
Enos Lobby? Enos Lobby?
Anus Lobby.
Anus Lobby.
Anus Lobby. But
No,
like literally
don't start this again.
We're fans, we
Literally-
promise.
Literally in that fight, we saw Frankie like pull out different beverages from a fridge and react differently, like to like tea and like other things. And then also like I just remember, I don't remember the context of it, but like Frankie gives himself like a dump truck
Yeah.
ass, and then like I think he like elevated himself out of a situation, and I'm like, if that doesn't get more unhinged, like I feel like Brooke is third in this. It's like Luffy,
Third?
Frankie, Brooke. I feel like because Brooke gets in situations that are like humorous, but they're always the same type of situation where it's like, here I go again. Whereas like you turn around and Frankie's doing some new unhinged thing that you weren't expecting.
But also that, like, giant ass fart thing is the prototype for the Kuda Boo.
Yeah.
Kuda
True.
burst.
Kuda burst. My
So
pants.
this is the weirdest Jimmy Neutron timeline ever. But that Caden, who did you think of when it comes to an unhinged Straw Hat?
So I thought of two different people, and for two different reasons.
Are we about to slap a
So-
handshake?
We might, but the first one I feel like is one that nobody thought of for this particular reason or at all. And I'm gonna throw this one out there before a potential sloppy handshake, Mark. But the one that I think is like probably the one that people would think is the least unhinged, but actually might be the most unhinged, is probably Robin. Simply because whenever anybody does the most wild nonsense, Robin's just like, yeah, that's fine. It's like, for somebody who is, quite frankly, on the surface level, very normal compared to the rest of the crew, she is oddly cool with some of the freaking wildest stuff. It's like, what is going on?
But is that unhinged or is that just being non-confrontational?
Well, the thing is it's almost like that's the first part of it. The second part of it is she's almost encouraging about it most of the time. It's like, oh no, yeah, Luffy, go ahead and do that thing that's very dangerous and very stupid and very likely going to get us all killed. It's like, I think it would be fun. It's like, are you? I mean, I know you're not okay, but are you okay? The other one that I think of when I think of unhinged in a way is probably Usopp, and mostly because of his thought process on a lot of things. This dude goes up against people he has no business beating and winning by playing outside the rules and playing outside of everybody else's game and following the beat of his own particular drum. And like, who brings an inflatable hammer to a war and wins with it?
Amy from Sonic.
Fair.
No, that's a real heavy hammer. That is a real heavy hammer that also just happens to squeak.
Well, I've never met her, so I don't know.
You don't
Molly,
text?
we text. Amy and I text.
I feel like
love this for
Usopp
you.
is normal, but his choices then become the unhinged consequences of his choices.
Exactly.
Usopp is us. Usopp is us in reality. We would be like avoidant, like we would avoid that. But I feel like the shenanigans he finds, the Looney Tunes world he lives in, and the choices he makes then become unhinged consequences.
He writes checks he can't cash, but somehow it works out anyway.
It's like,
Yeah.
this check is gonna bounce, and the second it hits my
Like-
thing, don't worry, I have a hammer.
Like saying he's a god and being like, this will be fine. I don't live here. I'm gonna be gone in like a day, and
now
then
it's on
literally
his-
becoming God Usopp like in the evening of the same day, like immediate consequences.
That's why Usopp is probably like up there for me. I feel like Usopp, maybe this is just me clamoring for giving Usopp far more credit than he usually gets, but I think Usopp is definitely unhinged in the way that, like, Because, okay, so level with me here for a minute. Frankie's always kind of been like that. That's the world they live in, right, Molly? You said it. It's like, that's the world they live in. Usopp didn't really live in that world. Usopp lived on a tiny little island where nothing really happened. And he has become this thing, this force. He started the most normal out of everybody. And now is so far removed from where he started as a person that I think that defines unhinged. Where Frankie's just like, at 7 years old, yeah, I'd put a little car compartment in my chest. That'd be awesome. And then at 24, it's like, I figured out how to do the car compartment thing.
See,
So
here's my real quick argument on that. Because I feel like on Syrup Island, like where Usopp is from, Usopp, aside from like the villains that we didn't know were villains like as he was growing up until a certain point, I feel like I could argue that Usopp was the most unhinged person on that island, a very normcore island. I feel like he was the most unhinged person on that island.
And now
then
look
it's
at
like,
him.
It's like a goldfish in a pond versus a goldfish in the ocean situation where it's like he's normal in comparison now, like because he's around people. Whereas like I think you made my point exactly by saying that like Frankie has always been like that, and it's like yeah, you can always. But the argument is who is unhinged, and I feel like Frankie is 100%.
Yeah, and
Frankie
I think,
may be mechanical, but he only has one gear.
I think Usopp. There's a way to explain comedy. It's a down on their luck person that can never win, and I think that fits Usopp to a T of being just a normal guy, and things are happening to him. Frankie's making things happen. Robin's making things happen. No sloppy handshake. Brooke is making things happen. Brooke literally went insane and died and has an ability where, all right, you got one more soul, you got to stay alive. Let me try running on water that will kill me in an instant.
All
and
right,
like there's a lot of like
Fair.
I don't remember which action scene. I think it was Fishman Island of cut action happening, cut to Brooke, and he's laughing maniacally as he's swinging his sword against a whole bunch of dudes. And I'm just like, that's my unhinged king right there.
That's true.
All right. I thought of unhinged in a happy, silly way. I realize now that yeah, Brooke did go insane in a sad way when he watched all of his friends die.
He's unhinged in the too real kind of
Like he's done wonders. Joining the Straw Hats has done wonders for his mental health. That does not mean that he is 100% okay.
He's
true.
Unhinged in the Wuthering Heights way.
And sad. This wasn't. I didn't think that this would become a debate, but I think that's really funny that it was just like nuh-uh. Nuh-uh.
Al and I sloppy handshaked, and that's all that matters.
I'm going to stick with another question that Carson sent in, which was, what's a moment that isn't necessarily a big plot moment that lives rent-free in your head?
My moment.
Well, what's a big moment? For me, one of, if not the funniest moment in One Piece is Luffy rocketing into the tavern where Smoker is about to like catch Ace, and that slow motion of Smoker completely like physically losing control of his faculties, and Ace's face is like that whole moment, and then Luffy being like, whatever, I'm at a bar, can I have some food please? I have caused irreparable structural damage to this entire block of stores, but boy hungry, give me food.
Boy hungry.
But boy hungry.
Boy hungry, give me food.
It's an emergency.
Because I'm hungry.
I feel like in like today alone, like the ones I can think of off the top of my head, like there are like certain moments in this series that like affect me personally because of what I was going through at the same time. Like immediately hearing the question and thinking about the speech Jinbei gives Luffy before the time skip of being like, Ace is gone, but what do you have left? And like Luffy counting on his fingers all of his crewmates, like that lives in the core of my soul. Like, I made room for that scene in my heart.
Covered in bandages.
But it's also like, I like Zoro yelling, Luffy! On the one island before Alabasta lives
Whiskey
with me
Peak.
rent-free.
Yeah.
Luffy's reaction to seeing a zombie for the first time lives with me rent-free.
Oh, the zombie thing rules.
Here.
Shoving it back into the ground.
No.
There's comedy
That
moments.
isn't right. Shove, shove, shove.
Comedy moments that live with me, and then there's like heartfelt scenes that have defined me as a person that live with me.
Yeah.
Yeah, this comic makes you cry, fam.
Yeah.
It's similar to like Last Airbender in the sense of like you care about these people so much and there's a lot of comedy so that when they do go through hardships you can feel it right there with them.
My cabbages.
I can
Yeah.
tell you one. I can tell
I would
you
love
one.
to hear it.
Ready?
Yeah.
I wonder if I can guess it.
You want to try and guess it? I want
One that-
to have everybody try and guess it because this
One
is
that's
this
not
the-
no, I'm not
is
going to
it-
guess it. It's one that's not
is it-
plot heavy, so I don't know.
Is it I want to live? Does that live
Plot
with
moment.
you?
that's a plot moment.
Oh,
Yeah.
I guess it is.
You,
I
I guess
also-
The crux of Robin's character
it's like the
arc
most
is that-
important
What about
thing that
what
happened
about
to
the
Robin.
scene? What about the scene where they're going up the elephant leg and Robin's like, "You can do it,
Rinosuke?
Renosuke," and then she leaves flowers for him. What about that?
No, not that one.
Oh, sorry,
The
that's another.
sunset with the crossfade.
That's another plot moment. I'm so sorry.
Yeah.
So there was one moment that I think will stick with me forever, both because I like it or also because whether I like it or not. There was one moment in Impel Down where I'm just like, who the hell is this? Oh, what a cool character. That doesn't exist. It does not exist, period.
Rip
Oh
Olive, the
my
real one.
god.
Olive.
Yeah.
Olive being introduced,
Rip.
her whole like little thing, and then me getting told she's not real, Kaden. It was like,
Who's
oh,
that?
come on.
I thought you were talking about Inazuma for a second, and then I was like, oh god, the woman. I'm also like, she's lying. Who is she talking about? That person doesn't exist.
Exactly.
Okay,
I think that will live with me more than anything else because like it's a really cool character design. I will defend this character to my dying breath, who doesn't even really exist in the canon at all.
You know what?
But what a fun character.
Can I quick segue? And so this is the one moment that isn't necessarily a big plot moment that lives in your head rent free. That's like Yayo specific.
Wait,
Kaden
that
getting
question's
to-
coming up. That question's coming
Oh,
up.
that's a real question.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. Then I got one locked in.
Write it down. Write it down.
I was going to mention the kawaii with Robin at that ugly dragon.
He wasn't ugly. He was beautiful.
Rinosuke?
I mean-
yeah.
Beautiful and ugly and beautiful. Like both can coexist.
Ugly delicious.
Yeah, that. Or
Ugly
ugly doll.
affectionate.
That was a thing everybody loved.
They made a movie. It wasn't good.
Interesting.
But also, what I guess it's a plot medium moment is when Usopp fires the tiny scared doll version of himself at Sugar.
Oh, so good.
Yeah.
I think about that all the time. This is so good.
Pika's voice, like just
Oh
Yeah.
yeah. Luffy and Zoro making fun.
Can't
of
stop
Pika's
laughing.
voice.
yeah.
Usopp sucking that fart was always going to live with me.
You know
forever.
what? Any movie moment technically isn't a plot moment because it
That's
didn't
true.
happen.
Yeah, there you go.
The entirety of Baron Omatsuri.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
It's the
Yeah.
meme that's been going around a lot of Sanji and Zoro on the boat, and Zoro can't hear. So he's like, huh?
Huh?
Yeah. God, that's so.
Huh?
And like Sanji's whispering to himself, like, I can't believe I was stuck on a boat with you. And Zoro's like, huh?
Oh my god. Last
So
thought of this.
good.
The last thought of this question is freaking what's the guy one of the admirals who can shoot light?
Kizuru.
That guy rolling up on a cannonball.
Oh, God, the
is an
memes
average
here.
What an entrance.
No,
Yeah.
no, understand.
Oh my God, get out of the way.
I mean, AMAB, but that was pretty cool.
That's pretty metal.
Funny.
It was just very silly.
Chopper thinking that his friends changed so much and walking around with the
Aw.
fake fake straw hats.
Oh my God, there's two of you.
Somebody protect
Aw.
him.
That poor child.
That poor child.
Where
He got
were
more
you,
baby.
Zorro?
He became more baby.
Yeah.
Good for him.
Yeah, that was Oda being like, oh, I guess he's a mascot. I have to make him cute. He was fine. He was cute.
Fine. He was fine.
Yeah.
We talked about that, right? We talked
Yeah.
about that? Okay.
We
The
definitely
reason
talked
why
about
he redesigned them, or redesigned Chopper.
Our next question is from Godzilla145. For all of you, what has been your favorite completed arc? AKA not the current one since it's not done. So everything up to Wano.
I mean, off the top of my head, I feel like I gotta throw out Marineford just for the episodes we recorded of Hungover Molly.
Yeah. I mean, Water 7, because I'm a Frankie fan, so like I gotta. It's
Yeah.
also really good.
You got it.
There hasn't been much with Brook, so I had to say Water 7 because of Usopp's arc, and the Luffy and Usopp fight is so
Yeah.
what an emotional break in an already emotional arc.
I don't want to cry.
Hey, you know what?
Then why
Sky-
did you read One Piece?
Skypea. I like Skypea a lot.
That's a
And the
good one.
fact that it's coming back around and everything's just like, hey, look, it's all coming back around. And everyone's like, it's not important. It's like, you could skip
You
it. It's like, skip
dumb,
nothing. Fool.
Dumb people.
Stay Pia.
Fool.
Watch
I'm
Pia.
surprised-
Stay and watch Pia.
I'm surprised all of you didn't say the Long Ring Long Land arc. Or the freaking Foxy.
No. I
Baby
think
back fight.
Ennie's lobby, and Skypea for me.
Yeah, I think
I'm coupling together Ennie's Lobby and Water 7.
I think in no specific order, just because I feel like I like them all equally. Marineford, the Arlong Park arc, and
Pick
Alabasta.
between your children, Molly.
No, because I feel like they all have similar themes, like Marineford, Alabasta, and Arlong Park. And I feel like I cried specifically during all of those. Not that I didn't also cry during the Water 7 and Enos Lobby stuff, but I feel like it was more personal towards the characters I was involved
I mean,
with.
Arlong Park is always the thing that we point to.
Yeah, if you can't get past Arlong Park,
That's the
if
test.
If you can get to it and watch it and enjoy it, you're gonna stick with it. If you don't enjoy it past Arlong, then like you can stop. You can put it down. Thank you
If
for
you-
trying. We really appreciate it.
No, if you watch Arlong Park and you don't like it, you don't have empathy as a human being. We can't help you.
You are uninvited to the
You
barbecue.
need to think about your life and go to therapy. That's not on us.
Yeah. Let's move on to this question from Manake. Which Straw Hat has had the most fulfilling character development so far?
Well, I think for the same reasons we were talking about, I think Usopp and Robin.
I was going to say Usopp.
Yeah,
the
Usopp
top
and
of my
Robin
head.
probably. Yeah.
Yeah.
They've grown the most, I think.
They've grown and in very different ways.
Robin finding a home was huge. Usopp
Yeah.
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 fulfilling his dreams and making his lies a reality is probably like really like not just big in a sense of less like wow he lied about it now it's real. It's just like Usopp's having the adventures he always talked about having, and I think that that's important. And more important is how he's dealing with these adventures, because he talks about himself being the hero in a lot of those stories, and then he's actually owning up to that part of it more than anything else. Is like, I'm afraid of this, but I'm going to try anyway. And I think that, yeah, definitely Usopp and Robin.
Like, Usopp has made the most attainable goal, like, realistically, and something that's the most relatable. Because, like, Sanji's is to find an ocean, Zoro's is to become the strongest swordsman, king of the party, all this stuff that are lofty goals but attainable. Whereas Usopp is just like, I just want to be brave. Like, I just want to be brave. And he proves time and time again that even though, like you said, Caden, he may not be like outwardly like puffed up and haha, like he's still facing every challenge head on.
Well, I
Yeah,
think
that's
Exactly.
It's learning what true bravery actually is.
Mm-hmm.
Is facing the thing even though you're afraid. Like that's courage.
It's also, I feel like, in terms of like character arcs of like Robin and Usopp, like we see them struggle the most. Like we see them change and try to do better, harder than everybody else. Like I don't know if it was a movie with Usopp or if it was in
Fart sucker?
It might have been that one, and I'm also might be thinking of Stampede, where like Usopp at some point has had a line where he's like, "Of course I'm scared, but like, you know, it's like, but I'm not gonna let my friends down," or like, you know what I mean? Like, it's like that's what you know.
Is that the same one where he was like, "I'm the support sniper. I have to do this."
I just like, in terms of like who I know Usopp as a person, like he never stops struggling, which is very real. And like
The struggle is real.
having a goal is great, but I think just in terms of like them as people, like Robin has come to rely on the people around her, and we see a lot more of that in this last Wano fight, where, you know, people are like, Robin, save me, and then Robin comes and stomps on people and is like, you got it. And
Thanks for counting on me.
in the time skip, she is like said it multiple times of like, I'm not worried if the government's going to try and steal me again, because I have friends who will come and get me. And like we constantly see Usopp struggling and coming out the better for it, even though it's like he knows he's going to get beat half to death in this fight and does, but still comes out on top and is stronger for it and is a better person for it, you know.
Proud of
Well,
him.
like, to your point about Robin, like, she started her entire adventure isolated. Like, the devil the government was trying to stop the entire time. Like, she's been on the lam by herself for years and never trusted anybody, worked for, like, essentially a spy organization, Baroque Works, where none of them trust each other at all. Like, and finally has a group of people she counts on and count on her. And she feels like safety for the first time in her entire life, which is insane.
Yeah. I just feel like those two people like had stuff they had to unlearn as humans, and they have, and still struggle with it, but do better. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Yeah, if you don't stake your life, you can't make a future, which is a
And then he
quote
sucks a
from one of
fart.
the movies. And
That's
then
what he said to the kid before sucking a fart.
He put mouth
Follow your dreams,
on-
kid.
Mouth on
put
aim.
mouth on sphincter, and I mean, I'm not gonna argue with that guy. I'm not gonna argue with that guy who makes a really great point and then does the most unhinged thing I've ever seen in my life.
Okay, maybe there is a case to be made for
Thank
Usopp
you!
being-
To be fair, this is
Or
movie Usopp. Oda had no
maybe-
control over this.
Yeah.
Maybe instead of unhinged, he's just the most hinged. Where he will go through anything because he knows it's the right thing to do.
He understands Toon Force.
Yeah, he
Yeah.
understands. He's fart drifting. Okay, he's waving
Exactly.
between
Fart
the
compatible?
lines.
It's actually a power move. No child will argue with the man who sucks farts.
That's true.
You know, I mean, that's like
Kid.
the kid on the
He'll be
playground that eats
respected
worms.
or something forever.
Yep, we saw
Feared.
this in another movie when Nami pulled a knife on a kid.
I'll kill you.
And you just got to be more unhinged than the child, and that's how you win.
Yeah, good parenting suggestion. Moving on. We have a question from Rika asking, what are some of your favorite pirates from media that's not One Piece, and how would they be One Piece-ified? Would
we
they
talked
have
about this before at in one of our last Q&As.
Didn't we?
We did. We went into like a whole thing about Pirates of the Caribbean, and then another.
Well, then I
franchise.
guess I just want to add Steed Bonnet to that list.
Yes, our
Okay,
flag
yeah.
means that.
Yeah.
Do an
that's it.
update. An update.
I just wanted.
I still
to-
have not watched Our Flag.
Hayden,
Means
you gotta watch it.
It's great. I love it.
And
It's so
Watch it
good.
on your own time. I don't want you to have
Yeah.
bad negative effects affiliated with it. Just watch it like how I watched Good Omens 2 on my own time. Just watch it on your own time.
I'll get to it eventually. I'm
I
watching
love it.
cartoons.
It's great. It's amazing.
Oh, it's also a cartoon. Are there any other pirates that you would want to see One Piece-ified? Other than that, or are we
well,
good with our
freaking
list?
Sea of Thieves. I would love to see some type of component to Sea of Thieves, like freaking not Overwatch, Fortnite. I was like,
So reverse of
Overnight, Fort Watch.
not Sea of Thieves
know.
in One Piece in Sea of Thieves.
games I don't play. Well, I just feel like there's a lot of components in Sea of Thieves. I think it would be easy to pull in elements from One Piece if they got the licensing. Like they have the whole, what's the guy's name? Fireheart, Heartburn,
Flameheart.
Flameheart. Heartburn. I feel like it would be easy to pull in like
Captain Heartburn.
Ace or Sabo, or even the guy I hate, Inu.
Yasha?
No,
Kagome.
the guy who killed Ace.
Akainu?
Blackbeard.
Thank you. Okay.
Well, no,
anyway,
I did come up with a way that they could turn it into the way that I think they could make One Piece work in Sea of Thieves is they have a not a jet stream. They essentially, you can sail into a knock-up stream and you go to a sky island.
Oh,
oh,
Hey,
that
we're bringing back Skypiea, and then everybody will get really mad.
Exactly. But that's a way where it's not, you are leaving the Sea of Thieves to take part in something, and it still affects the overworld, like similarly to like Monkey Island where you go off, or similar to Pirates where you go off, but it would be an in-world way to go off. And I'm being very careful with my wording here. And go on a One Piece adventure.
Muppet Treasure Island, but with
Yeah,
Oh my God.
Muppet Treasure Island specifically. That would be perfect.
Yeah, that'd be great.
this is my only number.
Tim Curry is just Blackbeard being like crazy.
Phenomenal.
Just Kermit's a human or a frog who ate the human fruit or something.
No, the puppet fruit.
The puppet fruit. Oh, Steed would have the where fruit. Where
The jacket fruit?
It would be silverware.
Not fashion.
I don't
He would produce spoons and forks and lemon spoons. And
Oh my
sugar
God.
spoons.
like people will
And
be
he
like,
knows
all
what
right,
they're all
now
for.
do a knife, and he's like, doesn't fit on this particular table setting.
Sorry.
What about a cheese knife?
I'm
from a
super
sleeve.
down.
That's really silly.
So good. So this next one is from Godzilla145. Well, in order to ask this question, I need to set up a scenario. Premise: you're Oda, god of manga, loved by billions, and you have the writing chops to prove why. However, you have hit a conundrum. One of the main characters you wrote originally to have a silly ongoing gag is actually quite problematic when you think about it, and your fans have let you know. I'm talking about Sanji. So the question is, how do you fix Sanji? And no, you can't just kill him off or write him out of the story. You gotta write your way out of this one. So...
I got it. Easy.
Okay.
Easy. Super easy. I think there is... Okay. Everybody sit down for a minute. Let's all just sit down.
Okay.
I think it is important to have characters that need to learn or unlearn things because it really correlates to real things that happen to real people. Coincidentally, you should also treat real people with the same amount of respect that some people in fandoms treat fictional characters. That said, there is nothing necessarily wrong with Sanji having to unlearn something and growing. In fact, it feels like they actually had been leading up to it for quite some time. What should have happened, and this is where I would go back and change one thing in particular, is after Whole Cake, I would have Sanji stop doing it. Because there was so much that happened in Whole Cake that spoke to his character and his character growth, and he actually went through some things that actually spoke to him being and becoming a better person, and learning how to be a better person, and unlearning things that he's been doing all the time, and really dealing with a lot of the trauma that he's dealt with his entire life up to this moment. And from that moment on, you see his behavior changing. And that's the only thing that you'd really need to change, because I think it was fine to have him have to unlearn something. Because if you have a character that is completely perfect in every way and blah, 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 first of all, that's not a real character. It's just like, it's boring. characters much like people, they have flaws. They need to have flaws. They need to have things that need to change and grow. There needs to be conflict and resolution and so on and so forth. So the easy way to do it is to go back and actually have him learn the lesson that he actually did learn in Whole Cake and have it stick. And that's it. Literally, that is the only thing that you would need to do.
It would have been so easy to do too, because it's like, I've thought about this before. You start at Thriller Bark. Like, I feel like it's a situation where it's somebody who has to unlearn it by meeting people who are affected by that behavior and wanting to change because those people become your friends, and also realizing what you're doing is doing wrong. We start in Thriller Bark, where he sees that guy with the invisibility fruit peeping and like assaulting Nami in the shower and realizing, oh, that's not okay. And start the chain of thought there. And then during the time skip where he's on, is it Kumabaka Island?
Kamabaka.
Kamabaka Island. When he's on that island, now he has 2 years to relate to people on an island who are helping him get stronger. You know, then there becomes a personal element there. You know what I mean? So start the conversation there. 2 years later, he's back with the crew. And then we start leading into more of his storyline. And I feel like I think Caden's right. It's like the time that he should have stopped being like that was during Whole Cake. And I feel like if Oda wasn't a coward, or like if the way that life is in Japan were different, that if during the Whole Cake arc, they had changed Pudding to be like like a female version of Sanji, chasing after Sanji and him getting a taste of his own medicine. I think that would have better been like, it's like older Naruto looking back on younger Naruto and cringing. Like, I feel like that would have been a better character arc of Sanji being like, oh man, have I been like this the whole time? You know what I mean? And instead, Oda doubled down on it and had him spying on people in the bath. Like, he didn't learn anything. He didn't learn anything from Thriller Bark.
I was so hopeful that, Wano being this huge moment where everybody was kind of leveling up to possibly their second to last, if not like close to final form, that in Sanji like dealing with his family again through Queen, that there was going to be something there of working through like further trauma and realizing what his actions have led him to do. And my hope is that can still happen. My hope is that there is something that happened in the Kamabaka Kingdom that did affect him in a way, like that we can look back on the scene of Sanji being dropped off at Sabaody, and that being more of a playful thing of people who have spent a lot of time together for 2 years than how gross it is.
Truly, it's a hill I'm not willing to ever die on. I think Oda's gonna take this joke until the end, and I'm not willing to put any hope into it. It's like, especially in a fandom that like makes so much excuse for Sanji, where Sanji asking Robin to help him during Wano, and everyone was like, Sanji's a feminist now. And it's like, no, Zoro's a feminist. Zoro's willing to cut a woman up. All right, that's a feminist. That's a true
and has
feminist.
been since day one.
Yeah, day one, dude. But like, I think the better way to show of like who Sanji should be and could be is the live action Sanji.
Yeah.
Live action Netflix Sanji is an incredibly great way to show how to do that character and not be a complete creep about it.
But it also shows that hopefully now that Oda was involved with that writer's room, and that writer's room was like, hey, so we have notes that hopefully now, again, I'm not going to die on this hill either, but hopefully now moving forward, dealing with that production process, that he can figure something out. He's had multiple opportunities and has been able to do it several times. Nothing tells me that he will actually do it, but
I'm a little worried that like his head is like, oh, cultural differences. And it's like, no.
Weep womp.
There are so many movements in Japan right now, and I don't know if you as a man will understand, like, where, women are coming from in a country that is very against women.
I mean, the longer the gag goes on, the more it like, the worse it makes Sanji because it just shows how little he respects women, including people he's known for years on his own crew. It's like it needs to be fixed, but like,
I feel like we were almost there, like towards the end of Whole Cake. Like,
yeah, there's so many
It
opportunities.
was there. It was like, it was a perfect opportunity.
So many responses to pudding in certain situations. I was like, I think it's clicking, and then just missed it. Like, went back to like just terrible habits in Wano, and was like, okay, I guess we're still doing this. So yeah, that's what I would do. It's like, it's so easy in like a writing aspect of like where you could have started it, especially for somebody who's a good a writer as Oda. Like, he basically has put the stepping stones there, but has choose to like step over it for the bit.
And you can almost make it funnier where like a situation is set up to where that might have happened before, but he just like nopes out of the room. It's like, I have to go.
Whatever this final battle's gonna be, I feel like Ivankov and all of them are gonna show up, and Sanji's gonna be like, "Oh, my best friends, what are you guys doing here?" And it's gonna be so undeserved. It's gonna be so undeserved.
Yeah.
There's enough. I think there's enough time. I agree that moment is probably going to happen, but there's plenty of time to do a couple, like one last flashback. Everybody gets 3 flashbacks. You get a flashback. But yeah. Does that answer your question, Godzilla? Let us know.
God, I want to go on like a mini rant right now about.
We can do that. I mean, we got time to fill next year, so if y'all want to.
Freaking Sanji being upset with people on Kamabaka for wanting to be like trans, and Sanji like, I don't want to hear it from the guy whose like dad experimented on him, like. God, and his siblings go through their own different types of like transformations. Like, how about you sit down and think about it for 5 minutes? Like, how come none of them went to therapy islands? Like,
well, we know why Judge's kids
there
did
yet. Okay,
Yeah.
we're still
Man,
pretty far from therapy island.
next time we do Q&A, and you ask me what my favorite arc is, therapy arc is going to be my new favorite.
Let's
when we get there.
go. We've got I've combined 2 questions together because one of them mentions the other. Carson and Rika ask if you could give each Straw Hat or Garp who doesn't have a devil fruit power,
that we
what
know
would you, that we know of, what would you give them? So the Rika's version of that question was, Garp has proven not to need a devil fruit and probably doesn't want one, but what do you think would make him consider it?
I just think it would be funny to double down on what he already does, like him like throwing things at like high projectiles. Like if he had like a cannon fruit or something and could make, you know, like cannonballs out of nowhere, or like
become a cannonball with the gray hair and Jordans.
Yeah, just become like a Chomp from Nintendo.
He needs the daycare fruit to take care of all the children he abandons on island.
He
No,
doesn't
he's
need
not.
that because he's handling it very well.
Terrible.
It's legally mandated. It's part of a court order.
He puts that somewhere. He hands the children off somewhere else and says, "Not my division."
So I can't throw them into bottomless pits anymore, is what you're saying. I'm kind of the government, so I can overrule that. Bye.
I feel like it would just be cool to like play up on certain people's abilities that don't have devil fruit. Like, I think if we gave is it number 1's sharp fruit to Zoro, then he has 3 swords and his body's a sword. He's all swords. Oops, all swords.
He's just cartwheeling everywhere.
Zoro and the Four Swords Adventures.
Yeah. And like if Nami had some type of like we you know, the theory is that Dragon has some type of weather devil fruit. If Nami had some type of weather devil fruit, that would be cool.
I would give Nami a devil fruit that lets her print money.
But would that be legal tender, or would that be considered
It would be just
forgery?
like it would be just good enough. Like building up her ability is like, it's all forgery. But as she gets better, as she gets better at it, it becomes more and more believable legal tender.
I would give, if it wasn't weather devil fruit, I would give Nami some type of like rogue devil fruit to like help her steal more. Like maybe similar devil fruit like Robin, where Robin can like make hands appear wherever. It's like Nami's hand appears in someone's pocket and grabs their wallet.
The picket no me.
Yeah, like a pocket dimension or something.
Oh, like a bag of holding.
Yeah. Something like that, maybe.
It's kind of like the door fruit, but she just opens into people's pockets or bags.
That's pretty good.
Have we ever seen a fish man with a devil fruit?
Wasn't Vanderdecken?
Oh yeah, you're right.
Yeah, Vanderdecken like picks a target and can't miss.
What would be funny for Jinbei?
Something about Elvis. I think.
What if we gave him crocodile's devil fruit, the sand fruit?
I was gonna say the Papa no Mi, where it becomes more dad-like.
More dad.
More fatherly.
Just a tuft of chest hair pops out.
Exactly.
He convinces whoever he uses it on that he's their dad for just a second.
Yep.
It's like,
Yep. I'm your dad now.
My dad now.
I would.
You're late for practice. Oh no.
I would give Jinbei Mr. Pinks.
Yeah.
So then he could swim anywhere.
That's funny.
Oh, perfect.
Seamless
actually.
swimming.
I had a joke one where I would give Zoro the moss fruit.
That's funny.
Silly.
And his hair
Sanji
just
would
gets a
like that.
little bit longer.
The origin of him needing those swords is because he has to cut his hair all the time.
Exactly. Thank you.
Just like Buggy.
Speaking of Buggy.
Or would that be funny? Well, no, because it's not Zoro chopping somebody up. It's like, what if we give the chop fruit to Zoro?
I mean, that would be a pretty killer combination.
That would be so... Okay, consider that, though. It's Zoro versus Mihawk for the first time, and Mihawk slices Zoro. And he's like, just kidding.
Get wrecked, scrub.
And then Mihawk attacks again with Haki, and he actually dies that time.
If I
He died, and then he
Oh
really died.
no.
if I remember correctly, there was an SBS where somebody asked Oda this question. And he said Nami would get like an electric fruit or something, and Zoro would feed one of his swords Kaido's fruit.
Yo.
So that he had a dragon sword.
Ooh, that would be
just like the Green Ranger.
So like Nami gets Enel's devil fruit.
Yeah, I think it was like, oh well, people already have these ones, but this is thematically what would work for them.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Zoro rides the dragon, but not normally like sitting. He's just biting onto one of the scales on the back.
It would be very funny if that was the sword that he put in his mouth, and the dragon's like, stop.
God, no, that's my
cut it
tail.
out.
Gross.
I hate that you do this.
Why are you
Zoro-
like this?
Zoro would be into it for 5 minutes, and then he realized that Luffy would be forever asking for rides.
But also like he'd be like, I need a new sword. This one's broken. Luffy!
I don't like that it talks back to me.
Yeah, this sucks. Bye.
Bye.
Next question from Bloody Vino Gander on Tumblr. We have a Tumblr. Hello, Yo-Yo Talk Show. I have
Yo-Yo
some
Talk Show Tumblr.
small questions. I've heard the idea that Zoro would be just as harsh on Sanji on Usopp. What are your thoughts on that? And then there's also another question, but let's answer that first one. Do you think Zoro is as hard on Usopp as he is on Sanji?
Well, I think Zoro's hard on different members for
Zoro's
different
just
reasons.
horde.
You know what I mean? Like, because he has like different relationships with different people. So it's like if Usopp's acting up, you know what I mean? Like Zoro's gonna clap back, but like he also has like a different relationship with Chopper too. You know what I mean? It's like
The only
he sees
people he
Chopper-
seems to not be necessarily like as hard on are like Jinbei, who he really hasn't interacted with too much, Robin, and Chopper. And
I
Chopper
think-
because that's the baby brother.
I think if anything, since Water 7, Zoro has always had the thought on the back of his head. What? The thought in the back of his head that Usopp would get up and leave again. And so he's preparing for that.
I also feel like that's a great example of like why I think he treats everybody the same, because like he straight up was like yo, you hurt the captain, like that guy's not part of the crew anymore. Like he is not like making an exception for Usopp, and then Usopp also shows up. You know what I mean? Like he like Usopp proves himself during the fight to save Robin. Like he's the one that was up there on that rooftop with them and shooting the flag.
And then also they paired Usopp and Zoro up specifically for the Jabra fight.
Just stand still and be a sword. I probably won't cut you.
I'll do my best. I'm sorry for everything I've done. God, I can't wait for that in live action.
Like it's like I've heard the idea that Zoro would be just as hard on Sanji as he was on Usopp. Like it's so weirdly phrased. I'm like, are we misreading this comment? I've heard the idea that Zoro would be just as harsh on Sanji as he was on Usopp. Like in what capacity? Like, you know what I mean?
I mean, working off of what we got.
I guess as he was on Usopp. What are your thoughts? Because I feel like we're missing a first part to the sentence or something.
Get back to us on Tumblr. We'll revisit this in the future, or join us on stream and ask us there, and we'll answer it there. The second part of this, Al, staring directly at you. Do Mark and Al have any waifus they love as much as Molly's love for Marco, which I completely agree with?
Buggy, that's your waifu.
I feel like Buggy is the correct answer.
Do I get a
Because
point?
I have an IRL waifu.
Yeah, you both do.
I don't think so. Like, maybe Shaki?
Yeah, Mark brings up Shaki a lot.
Because
he does.
She's so interesting.
I don't know if it's so much in a like I want to see pictures of Shaki,
definitely not that.
And more like she's an enigma. I want to know what she
I need to know
knows.
more about her.
I have questions.
Well, great. Now we have to cancel our body pillow for Christmas present.
No, you don't.
I don't know.
You don't have to do that.
Mark wants it actually.
We already ordered the buggy ones, guys.
I drew them myself.
Sure.
Molly Flood original. She actually drew. Do you think Molly will remember to draw Buggy Hot?
Oh my god! Add it
Please
to the
enjoy your
merch channel.
smut buggy pillowcases.
I mean,
Add it
no.
to the merch channel.
The easy thing is just draw Ariana Grande Buggy. Like,
Yeah,
that's it.
exactly. That's the one I will draw because that's the only one I like. And then you guys would be like, I wanted the baggy one, and I'd be like, shut up.
No,
like,
that's
I'm taking back your Nintendo.
The main side is that one with the ponytail and everything. The backside is baggy, but it's just red because he's so big. So it's just like a part of baggy.
You have to collect them all to
Velcro
build.
pockets for like tiny hands and feet on the corners.
Yeah, you have to. The other side needs some assembly.
Oh my god! I'm immediately thinking of the little action figure Al made himself of Baggy.
Exactly,
Just
that's
imagining-
exactly what inspired it.
Kaden, can you get that? Do you still have that video that you made?
It's in
We haven't
Discord.
posted it.
I need to
anywhere. We
find it.
post
It's
that.
hard.
Yeah.
I cannot find it because I
Just
think it
type-
was posted with no text.
Just type Baggy, and like you'll probably see me yelling about it. Type Baggy
Yeah.
into the search. But yeah, I
We'll
imagine
post that up.
I imagine Al taking those off the thing that he made and then putting them into the corners of the body pillow.
Yeah, exactly.
Oh, that'd be so good.
Same size.
But yeah, I don't do the waifu thing. That's just something
me
about me.
neither. Me neither.
No, you do the
As
husband
somebody who,
No.
as somebody who's kind of repulsed by Sanji's behavior,
Yeah.
like it's different.
I'm more of somebody who I like see as like a little sister or like family and like protect them at all costs. Like that's really it.
In this economy?
Right? Kaden, do you have any? I mean, we know about Big Mood.
Well, there's a difference. Okay, Big
Yeah.
Mood is the one that I feel like I relate to the most.
Robin.
Second to Robin. So like Robin and Boa Hancock, I feel like I relate to more. As far as like quote unquote waifu, not really. Like
Olive.
there's characters I like, but I don't really do the whole like.
She hubba
That's
hubba
my
Olive. We
waifu.
were there. We were there.
I was just like, well, who is this? But that's not the same thing.
Who
And then
is
you guys like crushed my
this?
freaking hopes and dreams immediately.
We'll cancel that body
What were
pillow too.
Caden, when you say hopes and dreams,
I thought there was something there. Like she was brought to the most infamous prison in the whole place, and it's like no.
must be real.
I can't remember.
No.
Did Caden awooga the oracle on Fishman Island?
Yes.
Okay, great.
I found it. By the way, I found it immediately. I don't know what you're talking about. Found it
Found what?
immediately.
The baggie?
Yeah,
Oh,
I
great.
found it immediately.
Can you pin it?
Tag
That'd be
mark.
great. Thank
Yeah.
you.
See,
Yeah.
I'm the best.
I also love that I'm
There was
like,
no argument.
what's my type? Chuckles to self, looks at desk.
Marco.
Marco and All Might, and also Bowser and Grunkle Stan.
Bowser.
blondes.
Older men.
Older men. I don't know. I don't really do the waifu thing. It's mostly like I like character design. I like character moments more than anything else. Speaking of things we should post this too. Secrets.
No context.
Dun dun dun. Cool.
That's just a tag.
She
at
just
me.
tagged.
That's just
Let's
a tag at
post-
me.
Name.
Let's
Post-
post
Posting Mark
Let's
online.
post Mark.
Mark
The internet's Mark B. Donica.
Mark
for
For scale.
Returning home.
Mark
Oh,
Put him on
no,
blast. No, we are not.
100%.
Gives me
100%.
nightmares.
100%.
That's so terrible, and no one will ever.
That's so terrible. Pinned the message.
No one will,
No.
no one will ever know what we're talking about. Hey, next question. We've got another one here from Godzilla145, which is, what has been your favorite bit from the show? Whether from the streams, the podcast, interactions with the fans across multiple social media, what are your favorites that have spawned from all things Yayo? Molly, you were talking about this earlier.
Yeah, I mean, just the one I always yell about is Caden finally getting to Marineford and glossing over Marco. Truly the most hurtful thing she's done to me. It's like, what do you mean? What do you
I watched like 200
All right.
episodes
It's
that
pretty
fucking
good one.
weekend.
And
Come
now
on.
you're not allowed to binge ever again.
Yeah, you
Never
took it away
again.
from me.
You ruined it. You did this.
Soiled
You
it.
did this.
Soiled
You
it.
did this.
Now you have to bookmark every Marco.
Yeah.
Ruined it.
Now I'm legally required. It's in my Yayo contract. I have to be like, Marco is
You're
on
on
screen. Stop what I'm doing. Go to Discord. At Molly. I found Marco again. Marco is here. This is the Marco tax.
Legally,
All right.
we make you read a single chapter, and then we make you wait until we have a recording, and then we let you read another chapter, and then we come back to talk about it.
Only kind of.
That one's just top of my head, thinking about that.
I think, and I mean this honestly, from the very beginning of Al and I being like, yeah, I like Buggy, to it becoming this huge thing and so much of the identity of the show, and like it going from Buggy Boys derogatory to the Buggy Brigade or the Buggy Bunch. Like there has been so like just the growth of, I think it was, I don't remember, it might have been Impel Down again.
It was Impel.
Where-
It was
where
Impel
Kaden was
down
like-
for sure, yeah.
All right, I get it.
She turned the corner. She turned the
Yeah. and like that was also Al and I in the past knowing where Caden was gonna go and us having that appreciation and she being like, stop talking about him, and us being like,
enough.
no.
Never.
Enough. You know what?
Isildur, drop
You
the
know what?
clown.
Similarly, in the exact same vein, where everybody's been just like Buggy, Buggy,
Well,
and then immediately me dropping Clussy, and then ruining Mark's day,
Monster.
week, month, and year,
even
and now we have
year.
merch.
I feel like the funniest part of that fight is when he caved and we got merch. That was the
best
funniest
part. It was just like, fine, but we have to
Caden.
sell
He put it-
10 of it. Hey, Mark,
Caden.
did we sell 10 Clussy things?
Barely, but also
Hey, no.
No.
Yes or no?
I said technically yes, but I have an idea for that thing that you want to force me to make.
Yes.
So here's the thing about that. Like, I thought, I was pretty sure that we would be able to convert Caden to the Buggy Bunch because it's so good. The thing I did not expect was Molly to be a part of the Buggy Bunch.
I turned the corner eventually. I feel like that was after like multiple like beer gardens with Markentown conversations and like having you guys like psychoanalyze Buggy and be like, yeah, I guess. And then also comparing him, like us doing the like who is actually a clown in One Piece and comparing him to like Caesar Clown and being like, yeah, okay, I guess out of these guys I would go with Buggy. I got there eventually. I think I mean Ariana Grande look absolutely helped him, but I think it's the baggy look that like when you like write a thesis on all the themes happening there, that's like, all right. Only because
the thesis being a burlap bag full of potatoes and loose change.
a cowardly bag.
Similarly, in that same vein, Molly drunkenly explaining.
I was gonna
things.
bring that up. I was gonna be like, because it's like we just had Thanksgiving last week. I'm thinking
the
about
the original Thanksgiving episode.
Me getting drunk at a Friendsgiving and arguing, first off, promoting the podcast, and then immediately getting into an argument on the hot grandpas. And my friend Paul, who was like, nah, get him out of here. And I was like, get your ass out of here. Like, what do you mean? It's a white beard. He's awesome.
And then Molly dropping like 8 F-bombs in a row and then saying dick and then screaming,
yeah.
I can say dick.
I could say Dick was pretty transformative.
The next day, reaping the consequences of slamming 5 hard seltzers in an hour the previous night.
God bless.
Yeah.
What's your favorite moment, audience? Let us know in the comments. Okay.
Did you say yours, Mark?
Yeah, the whole everything with Buggy, like, and how
gotcha.
just like Al and I being like, yeah, we like Buggy, and it just becoming this huge thing.
That's who you are as people now. I just want you to know that.
Listen,
Your whole identity.
Your whole identity is I like Buggy.
The blue wig hasn't come in the
Oops,
mail
all
yet,
buggies.
That's a
but
Christmas present.
So when we all can get together for like Halloween one year, everybody's dressing as Buggy, right?
No.
No, when it comes to like Halloween costumes, I also like dressing in things that I can wear other than one day a year.
You know what would be super funny though? We'll never do it, but like
I'll never
imagine, you know, like 3 kids in a trench coat. Imagine 4 adults in a baggy costume.
like one of those giant puppets, like we're each controlling a limb.
That'd be pretty
Oh
great.
my god. But also, have you seen those inflatable Halloween costumes? They need to do one with Baggy.
They do.
That would, oh my god, new thing
That
Our
coming to the
Macy's
store.
Day baggy float.
I'm like, I wonder if I could Google Santa inflatable costume and we could just edit it to look like Buggy.
Probably.
It's Buggy holding a chestnut tree,
Candy cane.
chasing after Luffy in the Macy's Day Parade.
and we make the tree look like Gaimon.
As much as I love seeing Buggy in the Macy's Day Parade, why wasn't it Baggy?
Luffy?
The baggy from Stampede. Why wasn't it Baggy?
One day.
One day.
Hey,
One Piece.
this is a real question, I promise.
Okay.
From
Text for Jack.
from Aquaviva on Tumblr. Why is Buggy so sexy? So I
talking
think
about live action Buggy.
doesn't
Are we
say.
talking about Ariana
If
Grande
this is
Buggy?
Tumblr,
Does not say.
All right.
Because Tumblr
manga-
likes a fail guy.
Yeah, that's
Does-
that's their MO.
Tumblr likes a wimp, soggy guy.
Do any of
there
the
he
Buggies
is.
qualify as a Tumbly Sexler man?
The live
All of
action
them.
guy.
All
of them do?
Mostly, literally the live action guy. And I can't
Now that
explain
Tumblr
it 'cause
has
Kaden
actually
hasn't
done
watched it.
Now that Tumblr has seen something One Piece related, because most of Tumblr didn't, everybody on Tumblr's just like, yeah, no, that's the. Yeah, no, he's a part of this now.
I'm
He's
down
here
to bone down with that clown.
The marketing for that was correct, where you turned an entire website against a scary clown in the corner of the dashboard. It got people interested after the One Piece fandom was like, oh, that's just Buggy. And they watched the show and now they love Buggy. I think
Get in line, stupid.
Ariana Grande Buggy is sexy because of the long hair and the ponytail. Like when you do less, it means it matters more. It has more of a statement. And then live action Buggy, you kids know why, and I can't say it because Caden hasn't watched it yet. You know exactly why.
You know why.
Spoilies.
You know
Sinner.
exactly why.
Sinner.
A sinner.
Sin.
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 Ugly.
Caden will know why.
Charlotte.
Caden will know why in the new year. She's putting it off for as long as possible.
Which
I am.
vibes?
I mean, we're
But
not going to
also-
talk about it till 2024. Spoilers. So I might as well wait.
I mean, spoiler chat's going to talk about it.
Speaking of
definitely-
spoilers,
I can't be there anyway.
not yet.
Soon.
I want to acknowledge that Ideas for Stories asked us a question that is spoilery. Caden, sorry to break it to you this way. Where's Richie? One of the most important members of the Buggy Pirates. So Richie's not. At least we don't see Richie in season 1 of live action One Piece.
Could just be dead.
Really? I mean, what kind of budget would they have for either a CGI or real lion?
A rare.
A rare.
See, this is why animation is better than live action.
Yeah, you know.
I mean, you can put a giant lion in something without anyone being in danger.
I mean, there's a YouTube channel that's got green screen animals. You could probably just pull one of those and like put it in the background.
They were also like
also, like,
The
shooting.
eye line is going to be all wrong.
They were
Also, like, don't be a
shooting
bitch.
off-
Where's the
They were,
lion?
they were shooting off the coast of freaking Africa. I think they could
Yeah,
have
they're in
found
Cape
one
Town.
if they wanted one.
But
for
also-
realsies.
Everything quote unquote live action now, like live action Lion King, is all animated.
It's true.
Yeah.
It's true. And they're not paid well. Anyway.
I mean, that's the one thing that I will say about One Piece is they did try to make as much practical as they could.
Yes.
And it's a very good effort. Very, very good effort. And I think when they went lion or no lion, they looked at the budget and went no lion.
That makes sense.
Maybe that's a season 2 note. We'll
To be
figure that
fair-
out later.
To note.
To be fair, Chow Chow was in for like a scene. All right,
That's true, but that was
I'm
a real dog.
I'm not giving Richie an iota of my thought process when we could have gotten more Chow Chow, who was a great puppy.
Go Popper.
It's true.
Go
Good
puppy.
And then we have our last question before we transition into Yayo 2.0 territory.
Dun, dun, dun.
From Nick Brennan 454 on YouTube, who thank you for leaving a
Awesome.
comment on YouTube, Nick. For all the crew, not just our wild theorist, do you have any theories that you were disappointed that have either gotten debunked, proven wrong, or haven't happened yet?
I feel
'Cause-
like the answer is yes, but I can't think of anything specifically in this moment.
One of my favorite things that Caden didn't even talk about was months before Whole Cake, and I only remember it because I just cleared it off of the pinned posts. Was we were joking about an island full of food people, and Team Spoiler Chat was like ha ha ha, like not even just saying it outwardly, and Kane would be like, that would be stupid. And then Whole Cake happened, and that was fun. And I remember that post where it was just like food emojis with like the open arms. And I was just like, that was a good one.
Polly not joining the crew.
Yeah. There's still time. We don't know.
Shut
Yeah.
up. I hate Polly now. I hate Polly out of spite.
Is that
No reason.
that? I guess that's another bit. That's another bit to add. Is Caden bringing up Polly?
Yeah.
I know.
I didn't
we
do
just-
it this time. It was
I know.
you.
I know. To be fair, I know we just did it this time, but it's about half and half
I hate
of,
Polly.
of you just pulling that out of the ether, going like, I hate Polly. And we're like, all right, I guess we're talking
Something
about
will
Polly
happen
now.
that Something will happen that will remind Caden of the last time it happened, and then Caden.
Well,
will bring
because
it
we
up
were
again.
waiting for Jinbei to join the crew. We're waiting for Jinbei to join the crew, and I'm just like, well, Jinbei's got to join next, and everybody's like, and I'm just like, no, Polly's not here. Shut up.
Well, we all learned from the Robin mishap of the anime. We all learned.
But just so everybody's clear, in case anybody doesn't know, I'm not allowed to look at the title cards.
Not anymore.
And I'm not allowed to look at the teasers for the next episode whenever I'm watching the anime.
After
I've
the
never
freaking episode says Robin joins the crew.
Literally
Before
the
she even
title of the
appears on the
episode.
boat.
Yeah.
Robin joins the crew, and I was no longer that was the exact moment
I
was
wonder
no
what
longer
happens.
I was no longer
Huh.
able to watch the intros or see the title cards or see the possibly what's going to happen next time on One Piece. All that stuff, I was Robin joining the crew, and I'm just like, guys, I think Robin's gonna join the crew. And everybody's like, you're banned. You're banned from ever doing this again. It's like, but the show's
Mods,
doing
can
it's
we-
like, no, banned.
Mods, can we delete her from the Discord? Get rid of her. She's spreading false lies.
But I think ultimately the answer is there's always time for some stuff to come true because Oda is insane.
I feel
Yes.
like there have been theories that Caden has come up with in the past that I'm like, that would have been cool, and I can't think of them right now, but have since, like, now that she is getting caught up at, obviously we know that's not how that plays out, but I
we're
can't,
also
think of
going
one
to do
immediately.
a whole thing of once I've caught up, we're gonna do we're gonna do a whole thing of going through spoiler chat. Stop saying whole. So we're going to go through spoiler chat. So I think maybe we go back and take a look at my
I mean,
log.
we're going to the top.
I can't wait for like the very beginning of that to be Mark and Al being, Molly, your keyboard is way too loud. She knows you're typing. She knows. She knows.
I remember. I don't remember specifics, but I do remember a couple of times listening to you proselytize about certain things, and you being like so close to 100%. But then there's like one key thing where you're like, and they're gonna have a hot dog, and instead of it being like, oh no, it was a hamburger, but like you being like so clued in and so keyed in of like this, and this, and like you absolutely nail all of the bones. But it's just the musculature that is incorrect.
The meat.
That's always fun. The meat is wrong.
Like, I feel like you had a theory
I built a hot dog out
about-
of tofu, and it's wrong.
Thank
Who is the spring guy again? I can't think of anyone's name.
Bellamy?
I feel
Bellamy.
like I feel like you had a theory or a string of thought about Bellamy, and I was like,
And
that
you
would've
guys
been
had me
cool.
so focused on Bellamy that I missed Blackbeard.
Well, like even before that, even after that, I feel like after you had met Bellamy, I feel like you had like, we'll probably see him again, and you were right, but you had some other thing that you had said, and I'm like, that would have been cool.
There were parts of spoiler chat where sometimes we were testing misdirection, which you'll probably yell at us
kidding.
for.
No kidding.
The
Yeah.
amount of times one of these guys was like, man, that would be the whole cake, don't you think? And then me in spoiler chat being like, shut up.
Yeah,
Shut
nobody's
up,
done
you.
that.
She
Nobody's
will
done
pick
that
up
really
on that.
recently.
She understands that. Stop it, you.
Rika actually brought that up.
Oh, no.
Of she went back through and listened to episode 0 and was like, oh, when Caden brought up Frankie and Mark was like, oh, super, or like or something really. I've littered episodes with those dumb little things, and I'm so
You've
happy that
done
people
it.
pick them up.
Like how Al tells jokes in the background only you can hear, Mark has dropped things like that consistently that have consistently given me heart attacks and have consistently made me yell at him in chat.
Yeah, let's see if we can find those in spoiler chat. We probably
I
could.
think like re-listening to the podcast and hearing all that stuff and clipping it together would be, I mean, it would take forever, but it would be fun.
So we're gonna move from our Q's and A's. Thank you so much, everybody who left a question. We really appreciate it.
Applause.
And
Thanks, y'all.
we then
you.
posed, hey, so
Log
the
post.
Hi, Mark.
hi, the show. Hey,
Hi.
the
Hello.
show's gonna be
Hello.
changing a bit because
Why are you sitting in your chair backwards?
oh, can you? Oh no, it's my microphone that's backwards.
Oh.
So as as the show is going to be evolving, I opened up the floor to our listeners to be like, what do you want to hear us talk about that either we missed or that we haven't had the opportunity to talk about because we're trying to get Caden caught up. And so this is my way of publicly acknowledging these suggestions and getting the crew to think about them, because I think there's a lot to all of these. So
let's hear it. Let's hear it.
Let's
Pitch
get
me.
through
Pitch
this.
me something. Pitch
All
me
right, here we
something.
go. We're starting with Delphi. She suggested that, or she wants to hear us talk about the card game. And now, Caden, I know you and Sam are playing the card game, and since that's going to take a little bit more of a budget to like figure it out until they have like an online portal or a deck builder digitally, I'm definitely interested, but I don't know if that's something that we can do like right now.
I think that's something that we can explore, and maybe that's not just a, hey, we're just going to talk about the card game thing, but I think it's a good springboard for other things, like talking about the evolution of merchandising with One Piece, what they've done with it in the past. And this is something that, one, I'm not super familiar with as far as like merch and everything like that. I've been kept pretty much in the dark about like a lot of things. And this is something that I probably will do a lot of like on my own, is taking a look at the stuff that they've made, because I'm just naturally curious and it like piques my interest. So maybe we do like a merch time where we talk about like all the different things that One Piece has done through different eras. Like, all right, and here's our cursed One Piece merch of the week, and here it is. We're going to talk about this, but like here's some really cool things that either we'd like to see more of, or we'd like to be brought back for like this era of things we, other things have done with merch that One Piece hasn't quite done yet. So maybe that's something that we can do, because I do like that sort of like marketing and the dealing with a community of people, finding what their needs are and finding what they'd like to like explore more, because I feel like pins are really common and buttons are really common, and like a little acrylic keychains are common, but like finding those really truly unique things that each like fandom does and each like medium and piece of media does is really interesting. So the fact that they did a card game for One Piece, first of all, at all, second of all,
and
this
also
late into One Piece is really interesting. So Sam and I are probably going to end up like trying to learn the card game. I definitely am. But we have two starters decks. We have two starter decks, one with Yamato and one with Luffy. So we're going to probably play around with that for a little bit, and maybe that's something that we'll discuss later on. It's super interesting.
Caden.
It's
Molly, you first, because
okay.
Caden, you gave me 2 ideas for a stream.
I was just gonna say I do have other friends who watch One Piece IRL and they play the card game. They say it's really good. So
I just did some cursory Googling, and the One Piece trading card game is available on Tabletop Simulator.
Yo!
So we could stream us learning and playing the game, but
Wahoo.
also going with Caden's merch idea, which I absolutely love. We could also we can each simultaneously go get some of what we think is the most cursed One Piece merch
I had
and,
it.
and present it on a stream and
We're
talk about
like-
it and laugh about it.
We're literally 20 years too late. My 13-year-old self, I just got rid of this stuff like 7 years ago. I had a friend.
I just got rid of it 7 years ago.
I know, but it's like I got rid of it after I moved to LA and I cleaned my room out at my dad's house. But I had a friend in high school who lived in Germany for most of her life. And she was like, yeah, I was into One Piece for a while. I'm not really into it. Oh, you're into One Piece? Yeah, you can have all this merch or whatever. And I had German, it was a different playing card set, but I had German One Piece cards. They called VVBB. There were so many like translational errors. It was
Get
so
out
silly.
of my laboratory.
Like I had what do you call it when it's not like real merch?
Fake.
Bootleg.
Bootleg, thank you. I had like a bootleg One Piece poster of the crew after Alabasta, and for some reason there were 2 Usops. Like they just copy pasted the characters on the ship.
Double Usopp.
I had like ripped DVDs that had like a whole opening that was like a guy being like, and this is why this is the best arc in my humble opinion.
Plinkett?
Off like eBay. And then I had like I had a One Piece. Who is the guy that you would like pull the arms and he would stretch from the 90s?
Stretch Armstrong.
Stretch Armstrong.
I had like a Luffy doll
LeBron James.
Yeah, I had a Luffy doll of that, but his hands and feet had suction cups on them.
Gross.
So he was like, I'm a rubber man, and you could like make him stay stretched like on your window.
Gross.
I had so much. It was like I was grabbing at for anything and everything. It was just like at a time of like where there was barely anything in North America, and just grabbing anything I can get my hands on.
That's so good. Well, we'll keep that in mind. Thank you, Delphi. Really quickly, because we already kind of talked about it, I wanted to thank Carson, who suggests, I'm sure this is already part of the plan, but I really want to hear y'all spend an episode on Caden's wild theories / her thoughts on spoiler chat. That's probably going to be a stream, and if we keep it clean enough, maybe we'll put it as a show as well. But for right now, that's definitely on the books. We just need to get there.
Caden just live scrolling and us eating popcorn, us with our Applebee's drinks and live reacting to Caden.
I hate your stupid Applebee's. Your appletizers.
So good.
My
So
appetizers.
Can I get my Appy Apps?
No.
Apple teenies too.
Yeah.
And our Rumple teasers.
I'm into it.
Let's Godzilla 145 also suggests when Caden is finally caught up, y'all ever think about looking at fan art, the non-explicit kind, obviously, or fanfics, also the non-explicit kind? Maybe more memes, just looking at the fan side of things a little bit more. And
I think
and
that's super interesting. I think that's super
similarly
interesting.
To how you were talking about how the merch evolved, talking about how the fandom sort of evolved. That could
And
be
how
fun.
the meme history of One Piece.
Oh my God.
I would love to do like a PowerPoint episode that we could put on
That's
YouTube
also a stream.
of all of us bringing One Piece memes to the table and presenting them to each other.
Like the history.
Yeah, I mean, I objectively looking at fan art, I think would be fine. I worry about saying something that like might upset the person who drew something. I also could just give fanfic
Molly's
recommendations.
too honest.
Well, it's like, Al, like you and I are like
Molly's
people-
fanfic reading list.
But Al and I are from like art school, so
Yeah.
we are used to giving like critiques. You know what I mean?
It's true.
So I'm like, it's
it's
fan
not
art is
like-
subjective. So
And in both of our cases, it's not like we would tear somebody to shreds, but it is
No.
like not everyone is used to talking about the like meta of how they made something, and some
Yeah.
people get mad even if we're not being mean. So,
sometimes things are just funny, and maybe the person who drew that didn't mean it to be funny. You know what I mean?
yeah, so
But yeah, I could just straight up be like, I mean, I could just go off on like, as I do with the Ace novels of just being like, yo, okay, I got this fanfic. This is my favorite fanfic writer. This is why I think this works here. Also, because there's a lot of, at this point in my life, I am open to like really any kind of ship. You know what I mean? Like fandoms can win me over or like convince me if the fan art is good enough, if the fanfic is written well enough. You know what I mean? I've talked about this with Kane before.
Molly and I are
So-
like, I appreciate Molly, and I appreciate that about Molly. I am so on the opposite end of the spectrum. It's like, if I don't like something, I'm just gonna be like, I just don't care about it. It's like, well, what if it's like, I don't care? Like as far as like, maybe because my background is in writing, if the characters don't retain their character, like in a fic, I'll just freaking drop it like a hot rock. And it's just like, I'm probably too mean when it comes to this. This is like you're writing this thing and it's good, but you're not writing these characters. You're writing what you want, which is not the same thing. And I think that that's fine, and I think that your writing might be good, but it's not for me because I came here looking for this exact thing that you tagged it as, and somehow this is generic coffee shop Hallmark movie AU. It's like nobody would be here for this. No one would participate in this. No.
Whereas I'm somebody who is like, that was a really good Thorin x Bilbo fanfic. What if I read the next one where Thorin is Thorin but Bilbo is a woman? Why don't I read this next one where Thorin's the woman and Bilbo's just himself?
You just like seeing the words and those names together. I'm
What
just
if I
like,
read the
I just want to
one
know what
where
they're up
Bilbo
to.
and Thorin are both women? I'll fuck around it. Or, oh shoot!
Like,
I'll F around and find out.
Listen, see that part I don't care about. That part I obviously
found
I
out.
really don't care about. The thing that I care about is like writing the character as
Consistently.
Consistently. Like you can't just be just like how do I put this? How do I word this? It's like like okay, there has been no cases where Luffy has been like any type like Sanji and all over women, right? It just has not existed.
But
If I see you writing that in a fanfic, I will drop it. Like I will 100% just be like not interested. And it's just like write the characters.
the difference between that though is that I know you have a hard stance on who Luffy should be shipped with, which is no one, and Luffy is asexual.
Well, the thing is like there's this. Well, okay, listen, you can have a really. This is semantics
I know.
now, but
I
like
know.
writing
But
the
also-
characters,
What
writing
is
the
fandom
characters
but
true to
semantics?
writing
Yeah.
the characters true to the character themselves, and not just writing a trope. And again, I'm probably too damn picky, but like there's a lot of trope writing for trope's sake, and I will drop things immediately. Like I'm the type of person, and I say this very often. Everybody's like, if you play a game or you read a book or you read a comic or a manga and you end up not liking it, like 1 or 2 chapters in, you can just stop. And it's just like, that is exactly what I will do. It's like, oh, look, this sounds interesting. And I read the thing and then it ends up being not what I want to read. I will just stop reading it. And you know what I won't do? I won't leave a comment that's bitchy and mean about it. You want me to tell me why? Because it's obviously not for me. So why would I be an asshole about it? So just like, okay, not for me. Walk away. But like, I don't care about those types of things. So I'm picky with fanfics.
The truth is, I'll read everything. If it's well written, I'll read everything once. I've read Sanji x Zoro. I've read Sanji fanfics. I haven't gone out of my way to find it. I've read Zeph x Sanji's mom fanfics. I've read
Molly
Shanks
is the
x
biggest.
Makino fanfics.
I'm
I've read
having
Luffy
an out
x
of body
Law
experience.
fanfics. I've read Ace and Marco fanfics. I've read like just wholesome crew interactions, no ships. Like I have truly just been
the
like
Encyclopedia One Pieceica.
I have gone into the mines and I have found some gems. Okay,
I'm picky. So picky. I'm so picky with fanfics.
listen,
That's
I'll
why
start it up, and if it's good writing, man, I'm in.
Whenever people ask me for fanfic recommendations, they're like,
I remember I gave you a list of fanfics once, and I never heard back if you liked any of them.
it's fine. We'll get there eventually, Molly.
Well, that sounds like a great opportunity to go to our next suggestion. Thank you, As Above 95. Thank you, Ryan, for sending this in. But he says, I'm not entirely sure of everything you guys have done because I'm not 100% caught up, but being hyped so much on the SBS art and the chapter stories, I'd love for you guys to go back and look at your favorites of some of the ones that you think we should look at just for the merit of enjoying them. So whether I think that's cover story art or cover stories. SBS art is something that I think Molly has seen some of, but because that's a lot of the place where I get Game Show from, I have asked them to not necessarily scroll through.
I don't know if it's been the entire time, but I do know that after a certain point, Oda has taken SBS submission art from fans.
That's true.
Not him drawing it anymore, but yeah, that's also like the color spreads that he does as well.
I haven't seen any of them other than the ones that were explicitly given to me to look at. So it'd be interesting to actually go back and look at them.
Well, if you are reading, like if you should have seen some color spreads on the app.
Listen, I was told not to look too closely at a lot of those things for the sake of Mark. Mark's just like, don't read anything extra. Just read the thing.
To be fair,
that's SBS, but the covers
the covers have the titles, and so we advised her to skip those because of the titles possibly having spoilers.
I see.
And I mean,
Robin joins the crew.
Because the episode and the chapters tend to match up.
I see.
Yeah, so it was one of those things of like, just get to the chapter, just get to the content.
When Caden catches up, then that would be something fun we could do.
Yeah.
Totally.
Yeah.
Because
I will absolutely be like, and here's where Ace had his own adventure, where we see him hanging out, and helping and just being silly. And then here we see in a different one, this is where Ace is hanging out with other people.
I mean, kind of. Like half of them are Oda taking suggestions of characters that people want to see doing something like silly, fun, or like innocuous, and other times it's what Caesar Clown and the Germa 66 are up to.
Yeah, it's like plot. He cuts it up between plot and like fan submission requests, and back and forth.
It's an interesting combination.
Were the sketches of the ships in the SBS?
Which ships?
I think so. Like when they show like what's inside the Going Merry.
Yeah.
Yeah. Those types of sketches would be in the SBS.
He at some point.
I
also...
look at those all the time, so I guess in a way I'm kind of ignoring Mark's rule on specifically one SBS.
I mean, it's not the main takeaway of the SBSs, so like that's that. Yeah, you're good. You're fine. I love you.
I gotta look at the exploded view of the ship.
Oh, absolutely.
So many of those.
We should do that though, because I like thinking about it in a broader terms. Like that's where we got the like Buggy's hair under the hat drawing. That's where we got like
if we look
Luffy
at like
at 30, Luffy at 50, or like bad Luffy at 30, bad Luffy at 50.
If we look at
age progressions,
the stuff that Oda revealed in SBSs instead of like in content. It's like, oh yeah, it's totally this. Or like, oh, did I not say the name of that devil fruit? Oh, it's this.
Because he also dropped the like possible sketches of like them aged up. You know, like the Robin could have had the pixie cut. Like he
45 if it goes well, 45 if it goes poorly.
I think my favorite one of that is Frankie as a ship.
A battleship.
Like he's just a boat.
There he is.
That's final form battleship Frankie.
That's the one, officer. And then these last three suggestions are from Rika, who did her homework. Thank you very much. So she suggests characters or theme-specific deep dives that span multiple arcs rather than just single ones.
Character or theme-specific deep dives? I mean,
so like,
I can just talk about Marco if you guys want me to talk about Marco.
With so many words.
Talk about Ace if you want me to talk about Ace.
That was one of those questions where we spelled TREAT so that you wouldn't hear it. It's like, no, you can't say the word. You have to spell it.
Treat?
No. Oh, jeez.
I think we also kind of answered this. We kind of answered this a little bit for the Straw Hats of like Usopp and Robin's like deep dives over, you know, like who they are now versus.
So I think the conversation or the episode idea would be, let's take a couple of hours and talk about bit by bit.
We elaborate as much as we can, kind of thing.
Yeah, I do. Yeah. I would love to see like an episode on, because like, and I feel like we've all done it in like little bites of it, but I would love to see an episode on like Frankie's design with Al. And then
absolutely,
which I feel like he's also like taken a big bite out of before. And then in the same vein of like, Caden could totally go off on like Boa Hancock in an episode, which she's done before as well.
One of my favorite things of being a part of the show is listening to the three of y'all go off in your realms of expertise about certain things and completely open up new areas of fandom for me where I didn't have like the words or the understanding other than I like that. That's good. So I am 100% down of having like art class, design class, like, hey, let's look at this evolution from an artist perspective, from a producer, from a writer, from a this, from a that. Because I just want to be in the room where it happens and listen to y'all talk because I love it so much.
there's a lot of screaming involved, and just being like, "Why?
What do
Nothing
you
works," and then something
mean?
finally clicks, and then you just, yeah, I know what my catchphrase is.
What do you mean?
I mean, Kaden could just give a class on like writing in comparison to how she's been able to like wild theory, like
I would love
all
that.
these people dying. Like
It's
her
it's
in
not
Alabasta
as,
being
it's not
like
as hard as you.
Ace is gonna die. Ace is
Still,
dying.
but there are certain things that you are phenomenal at, Caden. And in terms of breaking down to people who have been watching and reading the show for 20 years, you kick open the door and say, "Mom, holy F," and just completely like stuff that we have held in our heads as like permanence and whatever. You have the uncanny ability to come in and perfectly explain why. And that's such a gift. And I love when you go off parentheses queen.
Go
it
off,
wasn't the full
queen.
sentence. It wasn't the full sentence, but like I would 100% be interested in like dissertations from everybody.
Like Caden's theory of, or revised Journey of the Hero sort of thing.
Where Olive would fit in the canon.
Oh my god. I did so many like mentions of people misunderstanding the purpose of the journey of the hero, and like people like there's so much as far as writing is concerned that people take
There's
as
gold here.
it's quote unquote gospel. And it's like, this is what you need to do to have a good story, and this is what you need to do to make sure that things flow. It's like, so here's the deal. The biggest thing is that there's no such thing as a rule to writing. There's no such thing as the writing will be good if, or the writing will be bad if. It's all very subjective. That said, there are things that help you guide yourself along to tell the story you want to tell. And once you figure out who's writing the story and why, then it's easy to kind of like piece apart the rest of it. So it's a lot
Marleys were
about
dead to begin with.
What a hell of a way to start a book.
exactly. That's exactly what I'm talking about. And again, taking that and then replacing those things. And you joke, but Muppet Christmas Carol is a great example of it, because it takes the entire thing of the story as inspiration and then adds its own bits to it. And that's a lot of what Oda has been doing the entire time. It's like, this is inspired by blank, but I'm doing it now,
Hamburg
so
Kingdom.
I'm doing it my way.
The Taco Kingdom.
Exactly.
I keep thinking about
My way or the Grand Line. Sorry.
I keep laughing because I keep thinking about the moment where Caden was like, well, it's obvious that Ace was going to die. Like, if you look at the structure and, like, tropes, it's, like,
And
obvious.
the three of us weeping.
Caden turning to look at me on the couch, and I'm just like so much tears and snot running down my face. Just like, oh, I guess it wasn't obvious to you.
Well, there's also the benefit of the fact that I'm reading a backlog of things, so there is no stop. So I get to take a look at last week's and the next week and the next week and the next week, and I get to take like what is months and months of content and compartmentalize it and really analyze it in a way that, as people who were reading at the time, you didn't have the opportunity to, but upon rereading, things might have become more obvious now that you have like the full context of it.
While we're on break, we should just, like, in the way that we're gonna make Al play that golf game just on principle. Well, we should just make Caden on break read a chapter every week from Dressrosa and make her tell us if it's a good arc or not. Just reading it week by week for a year.
Jeebus Creebus, what a
And realize,
You want me to tell you something?
idea.
You want me to tell you something? I will probably say yes, but it will be too slow, and that will be the issue. And I totally understand where you're coming from. When it's all said and done and laid out in front of you, it's a great arc. Mm-hmm. But point for point, it's long, and it's too long for week by week for what it's trying to do. And there's a lot of things like, you could have cut this for time. You could have cut this for time. You could have cut this for time.
Chuffa.
Reading it, I think when we talked about it in the previous episodes, I said the same thing. Whereas because I'm reading with you, Caden. So it's like when I was rereading Dressrosa and being like, I'm not looking forward to this. It was such a slog when we read it the last time, and rereading it and be like, oh, this is actually not that bad, and it makes sense. Like being able to read it all in one go. But like I remember being miserable for 2 years because it was just going on so slow. What?
But it's better.
What,
But it's better now. But it's better now,
What?
right?
What Chuckle Boy?
Chucklebot.
What are you laughing about?
The opposite of One Piece was crazy good this week. Falling,
Oh God,
frowning.
we're still in Dressrosa.
Oh, that's a meme we gotta bring to that meme.
Hashtag
thing.
make it stop.
One Piece was crazy good this
Stop
week.
the pain.
That's a meme.
We've been going pretty long in the tooth, but we have one last suggestion from Rika, and it's something that I think would get back to the heart of us starting the show, which is watching some episodes in the 4Kids dub and talking specifically about them. So my thought is we can at least start with one and have each of us pick one episode. And like we go over it and we like make sure that we're not doing the same one and watch it and bring it to an episode. And so we have the 4Kids 4 sort of a thing of we each pick an episode and we talk about just the bonkers way that they censored this show. And we can start with
ass lips.
with your dry ass lips.
Just how it exponentially makes redubbing the show more expensive every episode.
I can think of
Yes.
3 episodes off the top of my head that would be the best ones
I thought
to
of one
watch.
specifically that I would be interested in doing, but Al,
Aces?
you saying that made me think of He Didn't Laugh.
Yeah, I think I there's definitely something I really want to talk about with that, but that's something I haven't brought up to you guys yet because I just was thinking about it this past 2 weeks as we've been ramping up to this end of year thing, and some shenanigans has been going on, and I think that 2024 is going to be filled with a lot more shenanigans. So there's something that I want to bring to the table, but I don't think that I'm ready for the audience to hear it yet. But
Okay,
you guys,
so
I
keep
do
that
wanna
in, keep
hear
that in the back of your mind. We'll talk about it after the record.
we gotta make an audience spoiler chat.
I think which is our whole Discord.
Yeah.
Let's all start thinking about episodes in the 4Kids style, and maybe that's something that we can do early on in the year.
Just pinned it. I have 3 episodes that have stayed with me for years that I think would be great for us to talk about.
Okay, I have one that I have to post after I post our Google Drive link, but I think that will bring us to the end of this Q&A. Thank you, everybody who sent ideas, stuff that you want to hear, questions, and
Good
thank
questions,
you.
y'all.
Great
Yeah.
questions. We're at the end of another season. Thank you so much for anybody who's been with us the whole time or who joined recently. It's been a hell of a ride so far, and 2024.
It's been years.
It's been years. 2024 is going to be a huge year for the show, and I can't wait to see what sort of just absolute madness we get up to. But until then, everybody, put yourselves over. Tell the folks where they can find you on social media, and let's start with Caden.
Hi, you can find me on Blue Sky and on Tumblr and on Twitch, Threads as well, and Instagram if you really want it. Caden Jensen in the same place everywhere all the time. Thanks for listening in and watching the streams and hanging out with us, everybody.
That was lovely. Al, how about you?
I gotta follow that. You can find me basically everywhere at Al McClellan Jr. ALMCCLELLAND JR.
Good luck.
And thanks for listening, everybody. It's been an adventure.
You
Al,
probably
thank you for powering through so much recording.
Yeah,
you
everybody
beautiful
again
so-and-so.
send
Al's
Al
been
some
sick.
love. He lost his voice before these, and we gave him
Also,
some time to recover, but
you
it's still a
probably-
little squeaky.
You probably couldn't hear it because of his voice, but it's GR.
No.
Yeah, just as a correction.
No.
Don't make him raise his voice. He can't talk good.
Teehee.
The J stands for G.
Hell,
Jee.
Gee. I gotta go. But before I do, you can follow me all over the internet at Mark B. Dunica. That's Twitch, Instagram, Blue Sky. I stream by my onesie, but I tend to I want to stream with Yayo first. So make sure to follow us on twitch.tv/Yayo Talk Show, where we're gonna go on a season break around Christmas, but other than that, we tend to stream at least once a week, more if we're feeling real good. But how about you, Cap'n?
You can find me on Blue Sky at Molly Flood. You can find me on Tumblr at Molly Flood, Molly K Flood, depending on what you're looking for, art or memes. And we have Yayo Talk Show Tumblr, so come follow us on there. And I have a crochet Instagram account now, so if you guys just want to see what I'm up to on there, it's Flood Crochet.
It's a very good
crochet
follow.
cord.
It's a great follow, very cozy.
It's when you guys are like, hey, why isn't Molly doing new art? And you see I post a new crochet video. It's because I'm just
It's
working
all
on,
art.
It's just working on a different form of art that has nothing to do for the podcast.
Which is absolutely fine. Happy that you're expressing yourself in such a way. But going along with how most arcs, sagas, or seasons have ended, now that you've listened to the episode, you've joined our crew, and with that comes the responsibility of telling your friends, leaving a comment, following us all over social media at Yayo Talk Show, and letting Caden read the show in one piece. I know that was a bit of a, both of the things. Read the comic in one piece. So come aboard, and we'll see you. Wayno. So come aboard, and we'll see you next time on
Anus.
Yayo Talk. God damn it. Talking about
One Piece.